Hello and welcome to my garden. When you're looking for plants to fill your borders and beds around the garden, it's great to find a plant which has got a presence all year round, and that's why I chose this evergreen flowering shrub to take a pride position in a raised bed filled with ericaceous acid compost just outside the back door of my house. This is the Mountain Laurel. Its Latin name is Kalmia latifolia. This plant's been in here for a number of years now, grown. Now it's a few feet off the ground at the bottom of the raised bed, but it's probably now about 5 foot or so in height. It forms a lovely bold feature, and this brings the flowering display in my acid bed to an end. Season started with rhododendrons and camellias and azaleas coming through February, March, April and May, and as we move into early summer, into June, the Kalmia comes into full flower. If you enjoyed this video, then I'd be really grateful if you could click below to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll produce more videos like this for you in future. You'll also find dozens more videos on my channel that provide planting ideas and practical advice, so please check these out too. Thank you. Once flowering's over, some deadheading is needed to tidy up the plant and display. So wait a few weeks and then these old seed heads could be gently picked off. Just go over the whole plant bit by bit, grasp the old seed head and just almost tear it off. It will break away quite easily. You could use a little pair of snippers if you want to loosen them, but otherwise sometimes just putting your nail in, bending them back, and they will come away. Just remove all of the seed heads to tidy up the display. New leaves will be developing from the tips of these shoots as well, and those new shoots will carry flowers the following year. Kalmia is an extremely hardy evergreen shrub, a member of the ericaceous or heath family, hence its requirements for an ericaceous or an acid soil. A peaty soil would be perfect too, but Kalmia dislike lime or an alkaline or chalky soil of any sort. If you've got an area that likes camellias or rhododendrons or azaleas, perhaps in a woodland garden setting, then Kalmia should flourish too, making a good companion that extends the flowering season from those early spring flowering shrubs well into summer. When fully mature, some varieties of Kalmia can reach up to 12 foot or more in height, but this could take many years, so I wouldn't be too worried about them getting too large in most gardens. And to be honest, Kalmia don't really need pruning at all, so try and grow them where they have the space to fill with their natural shape and beauty. Different varieties of Kalmia have buds and open flowers in different colours, from red through to pale pink, some white, others two-toned with bands or spots of deeper pink, red or even burgundy around them. I'm growing Kalmia latifolia in my garden, which is a native to areas of North America, such as New England and Quebec, New York State, and Ohio down to Louisiana and West Florida. In these areas, it was commonly found growing in deciduous forests and often among rocks on an acid soil. Its common names include mountain laurel, calico bush, or spoonwood, as the Native Americans may have made spoons out of it, although this could just be folklore. Kalmia is also the state flower of Connecticut and Pennsylvania. There are about 10 species of Kalmia, and another one you might find available is called Kalmia angustifolia, which can be found in areas of eastern Canada, including Labrador, Manitoba and Newfoundland, but also in mountainous areas of Virginia and Georgia. Again, it likes an acid and sometimes boggy soil. Its common names include sheep laurel, lambkill or even sheep poison, names that allude to the fact that Kalmia foliage and stems can be poisonous if eaten, even by humans, so Kalmia should never be grown near areas of grazing livestock. There are a number of named varieties of Kalmia you could consider too. Much breeding work was carried out by Richard Janes from Connecticut Experimental Station in the 1960s and 70s. Kalmias are hard to propagate from cuttings, so you could try layering low-growing shoots down to the ground, but the plant breeding pioneers innovated a technique called micropropagation to raise thousands of identical plants using tissue culture in the laboratory. Freckles was one of his first, with deep pink buds opening into pale pink flowers ringed with deep red burgundy spots in a ring just inside the edge of the petals. Freckles is a vigorous shrub and has been awarded the Award of Garden Merit. Olympic Fire can grow quite tall after a few years if it really likes the position it's growing in, relishing a sunny site where the soil remains moist. Its deep reddish pink buds burst open into attractive pink flowers, impressive enough again to gain Olympic Fire and Award of Garden Merit from the Royal Horticultural Society, just like Freckles. Snowdrift stays to a manageable size for most gardens, only reaching about 5 foot in height and forming its small pristine white flowers through June and into July. Minuet is a very dwarf variety, only reaching about 1 foot or 2 in height. Its clusters of cupped flowers are white with a bold band around the inside. Carousel has a similar red band but grows much larger, possibly over time up to about 8 foot tall. Ostoba Red stays quite short, reaching about 4 foot when established, with deep red buds opening into pale pink flowers with a lovely deep pink band around the very centre of the flower. The flowers are almost octagonal in shape too. And lastly, I did mention Kalmia angustifolia earlier, and this is Kalmia angustifolia rubra, another low-growing variety which only reaches a couple of feet in height, but it can spread more widely. Its broad habit of deep green leafy stems can grow into quite a thicket. It carries its rosy red flowers over a really long period through May and June. And again, the experts at the RHS were so impressed they've given this variety an Award of Garden Merit too. There are other varieties listed in the catalogues you might find available, like the speckled red ginkgona, the pure white elf, pretty pink Kalmia latifolia Little Linda, or kaleidoscope with lightly scented burgundy coloured blooms. So if Kalmia take your fancy, start doing some internet research to find out which varieties are available where you live. So there you have it, the lovely evergreen Mountain Laurel, giving you a flowering shrub which really does steal the show in early summer. Lots of different forms, dwarfer forms, compact forms you can choose. The ordinary Kalmia latifolia, a great choice for the garden. Very trouble-free, flowers every year. Just that deadheading to remember once flowering is over. Otherwise it might be something you could find a space for in your own garden.